really encapsulated my feeling. This was going around on WhatsApp. Okay, so I want to read this to you. I don't even know who wrote it. I tried to figure out who wrote it, and it's a translation. But this is the eve of Yom Kippur 5784. In the heavenly courts, the trial is about to begin. There is a tense silence in the heavens and on earth. The prosecutor is given the floor first. He steps up to the podium and piles the sins of the people of Israel onto the scales. One sin after another. He heaps small and large transgressions onto the balance. When he finishes, he steps aside. The scale tips to the left, and a feeling of discomfort is palpable all around. But then permission is given again, this time to the 7 shepherds who stand in a radiant, silent row. These are those who visit us in our sukkah. We're about to see them right now. First, our father Abraham steps forward, holding all the acts of kindness of the people of Israel from this past year, from healthcare workers and security personnel to psychologists and social workers, from teachers and youth leaders, from the youth who helped dismantle the sukkahs to the women who cooked for soldiers, from the drivers who transported reservists and the many volunteers. And there is much, much more, as we all know. And after him comes his son Isaac, the pure offering. He places on the scales of the self-sacrifice, the readiness to be bound, the running into fire under the whistling of bullets, the urgency to save others at the expense of the Savior, of he who's doing the saving. He places the heroic and proud souls whose merit stands forever. Then comes our forefather Jacob, who fought the angel. He places on the scales the merits of the wounded, laying down crutches, prosthetics, tears of burning pain, and lifelong disabilities. He places those who stand tall, despite being bent by their burdens. And after him, Joseph steps forward, placing the cries from the pit, the voices of men, women, and children whose cries echo throughout the world. Imprisoned in dark and hidden in damp apartments, imprisoned in dark tunnels and hidden in damp apartments, so close yet so far, hungry, exhausted, and praying for salvation. Moses, our shepherd, approaches. He places Torah study from all hours of the day, mitzvot, and countless merits on the scales, though it's already clear that there's no need. He places prayers and tears, challah offerings, psalms, Talmud study, and charity coins and tzedakah. Aaron the priest steps forward next. He places on the scales the love of Israel, one great and holy congregation, united and reconciled, their hearts beating in unison. He places the shoulder-to-shoulder battle of the people of Israel, together as one man with one heart, from all communities and sectors. He places them like stones of the breastplate packed tightly together. And the scales are about to break. Tense silence fills the hall. Then the last shepherd steps forward, David, king of Israel. He approaches holding the spirit of royalty, representing the noble generation that rises like a lion. They leap with all their might to rise and defend their brothers, to save them from the hands of the enemy, crying out the cry of all generations. Am Yisrael Chai, a generation that reminds us of what was almost forgotten, how beautiful this people is, how strong they are, crowning Israel with glory, with the crown of kingship, a generation that yearns for the kingship of David, for the rebuilding of the temple, that fights and wins in the name of God. They all stand once again in a row, their eyes blazing with fire, their entire being awe-inspiring. The judgment is clear. No more words are needed. Then footsteps are heard from outside, a sound growing louder. The doors swing wide open, and the 4 mothers of the nation enter. Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah advance as one towards the scales, placing on them the pure prayers of women, the ceaseless worry for the soldiers. They place psalms recited beside the hospital beds. They place women with shoulders broadened by heavy burdens from days and nights of functioning alone, bearing great responsibility. They place the pain of widows, the warm tears of longing and loneliness. They stand next to the fathers, noble and radiant. The hall is silent, for it is awe-inspiring. And the heavenly voice declares, "Fortunate is the people for whom this is so. Ashrei ha'am shekachalo. Fortunate is the people whom this is so. Fortunate is the people whose God is the Lord. And forgiveness will be granted to the entire congregation of the children of Israel. The miracles of our generation.